Okay, so it's Thursday. It's the first Thursday in April, if you can believe it. My name is Dee Korchin. I'm glad you guys came. So this is our team call for clients and coaches. We do this once a month, the first Thursday of the month, and we moved the time a little earlier. We know that 8:30 is late to get started, so we moved it earlier. So we're hopeful that this works well for you. And something different that we're going to do this week is, or this month and moving forward, is immediately following this call, we are going to go ahead and roll right into our monthly health coach training for our team. So we've got a couple of new health coaches on the line, and we also have a few people who've been considering coaching. And so we welcome anybody who wants to join in with us just to stay on the line. You can stay as long as you want on the call, just to kind of see. We'd love for you to see what we talk about, the types of training topics we have, the support that we provide for our coaches, because we know making a decision to become a coach is can be a big decision. So join us for that. We'll start right after this one finishes. But tonight we thought we'd talk about the big secret, and what is it that it takes to get healthy? Because probably for most of us, this isn't my favorite phrase to use is this is not our first time to the rodeo. So we've probably tried in the past to lose weight, make long-term change, and for whatever reason, it just all didn't align. Either we didn't make it to our goal, or maybe we made it to our goal, but we gained some weight back, but it just felt like a struggle. So here we are again. And so we know that what we offer through Take Shape for Life, which is soon to be Optavia, we offer something totally different. And we really are designed for your long-term success. So what we're going to do with this call is kind of unravel and show you the secret to what it is that we offer, and that when it's embraced by you on whatever level, that when you put all the pieces together, that is the secret sauce and how the magic happens. So we're really fortunate. We've got some great health coaches on our team, and they are going to help us out tonight. And specifically, it's going to be Susan Gieslin and Vicki Feldman, both Susan is an executive director on our team, and what that means is she's helping a lot of people, and Vicki is a regional director, same thing, helping a lot of people. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Susan. And Susan, I'm going to let you get going, and we're going to hope that Vicki joins us soon.
That sounds great. Thank you for asking me to be on the call. I'm really excited about this because it really is the big secret. And it's funny, when you find out, you'll find it's pretty obvious. So if you all have gotten one of these before, I love this. This is the Optavia guide. This little tool is so awesome, and I really recommend going through it, especially if you haven't looked through it in a while. But it kind of explains the program, but it's a really nice little resource to have. But I'm going to go through a couple of things that you'll find in it that's the secret to being successful. And I tell clients, it's sort of like you have your four wheels on your car. And, in order to get where you want to go as fast as you want to go to your destination safely, you got to have all four wheels that are working. Well, you could still get there with three. You might not be as fast. Something might happen along the way. You might not get there. But what makes your car run the best is having all four tires working well. So I kind of equate the four parts of our program with that. And utilizing every single one of those parts is essential to anything. So we're going to start with the basic, and that's your health coach. Your health coach is your guide. Your health coach is somebody who's caring, knowledgeable in the program, and offers that one-on-one support. And in the Optavia guide, it actually says your health coach is guiding you to healthy habits and providing encouragement and support. That's our priorities. So I like to play with words. I like to look up words. And support, as you know, means anything from sustain or withstand, endure, undergo, or to sustain a person, uphold a person that's under trial or affliction. And sometimes when we want to change our habits, that can be a bit of a trial. So it's always nice to have somebody right there to guide you along the way. And also keep you accountable, somebody that's responsible, that you're responsible to, and can help you through this. So the characteristics of a health coach, it's somebody who's been on the program already. So she's been down that road that you're already taking. So because we've been on the program, we know how well it works. We know the benefits of it. We want to pass that along to you. We've been trained in the Habits of Health education system. so we can guide you through the Habits of Health book and workbook to what best fits your needs. Where do you need the help the most? We can also hold up a mirror to you on those times when you don't want to see what you need to see, times that you may need to be refocused, things that might be holding you back from where you want to go, thoughts, habits and all of that. And we may ask you the tough questions. It's sort of like an athlete has a coach, right? And they will sometimes say the tough things or ask the tough questions to get you where you need to go in your training process as an athlete. So we would like to do it to help you refocus. We're a partner with you, but we're also very important to be an accountability partner. So, when it comes to your health coach, when do you contact your health coach? Well, first of all, that's something that you work out a schedule with your health coach. It could be once a week. It could be twice a week. It could be text me, your weight. It's whatever you and your health coach are working on together. But I'm going to tell you something. When you really should contact your health coach is when you're struggling. It's when you're having a tough time either following the nutrition part of the program or any part of the program really, or there's something that's coming up in your life that you're struggling with in keeping your health goals in focus. And that's a really key time to contact your health coach. Talk to your health coach. Say, this is what I have going on. Or if you've gone off the program, you're not following it exactly, so you're not getting the results you want, that's another great time to reconnect with your health coach. That's when we can really be the most helpful to you, because when you think about it, our goal as your health coach is what your goal is. So we want to be there with you. We want you to be successful. So if you're struggling, if you're having some challenges, for whatever reason, connect with your health coach right away. I can't stress that enough. And it's sort of like, why should you have a health coach aside from the accountability factor? So think about the time that you learned either a new sport or a new skill, or you learned to play the piano, or you learned how to drive, or in my case, I learned how to knit recently. So I have somebody that's helping me do that. So whenever you learn anything new, having somebody that knows what they're doing and been down that road is going to be there right with you. And that's the importance of having a health coach. People are more successful if they have that support. So I just want to stress how important it is to really stay connected with your health coach. And I will add this little caveat here. Health coaches themselves are 5 times more likely to be successful and to maintain their weight loss on their health journey and to continue their health journey. So that might be something as well, to talk to your health coach about the possibility of being a health coach. So it's a win-win kind of situation. You reinforce in your clients the healthy habits while you're helping them and their goals. So it's win-win for both people. So that's one aspect of the big secret, is being in touch with that health coach who's trained to help you down this road. It makes this really very different from many other programs, because you have somebody that that you trust, that you're friends with, that is with you along the way. The other aspect that kind of goes hand in hand with the health coach part is the community, the Optavia community. And thankfully, a lot of you are part of that with our Eat, Live, and Be Healthy Facebook page. I highly encourage you to continue to check in there daily, post, ask questions, post a recipe, encourage somebody, because if we keep each other encouraged and supported, we'll all be more successful on this. And so it's really important to just kind of tune into that. But we have other areas of support in our community. We have the support calls. Do you know when they are? Does anybody know when they are? They're on Wednesdays. So we have an 8 o'clock nurses and doctor call. And we have the 8:30 Habits of Health call. And those are so good to listen in on. Sometimes I'll just be sitting doing something, and I'll just plug my phone in and I will listen in. And I always learn something from both calls. And so they're a really great resource to have to keep you connected to the community and to reinforce the habits of health that you're learning with your health coach. Nutrition support. Has anybody ever used nutrition support? I had a client who had a recipe and she wasn't sure what it would mean in the breakdown of her lean and green. So she emailed it to nutrition support. They came back and they said, this is what it would be, or this is how I would tweak it so it fits your lean and green requirement. And boom, she had it. It's also a great resource if you have questions about the program itself. For instance, I had a client that said, why do we have a limitation on sugar-free snacks? And I didn't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. So together we called support and we found out why. And it's because the body doesn't necessarily recognize sugar-free as being sugar-free. And so it will process it like it has carbohydrates. So in addition to that, we have events and meetings. If you're local to us here in the Atlanta area, every Monday night we have meetings in the East Cobb Marietta area. Great place to meet like-minded people, to connect with people, to talk to people, to find out where they're at in their journey, to ask questions, but to be around a community of like-minded people. So that with our other meetings, we have the Be Slim Club. So you're probably all in the Be Slim Club, but that's a great way that the company provides us with that reminder service that we're due to order our fuelings so that we don't get out of fat burn, but it's also helps you save money and earn some rewards. So those are some of the areas in the community, and a community is a group of people that are like-minded, that have common characteristics. So being part of a group, it allows us to lean on one another for support. It reinforces our own beliefs and values to help us stay on our health. And when you've probably heard this before, but you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you truly want to be healthy and you want to take your health to the next level, engage within the community, whether it's our Facebook page, it's the online, it's the support calls, nutrition support, it's local meetings, it's connecting with your health coach, but being with those kind of people will help you stay on track for what you want to achieve with your health. So those are 2 aspects of the big secret. And I'm not sure if Vicki Feldman's on to give us the rest of them, but I will turn it back over to Dee and she can let me know.
Yes, she is. Thank you so much, Susan. I mean, I think those are probably 2 of the most valuable components of what we offer, and that makes it different is that relationship with your health coach. So we definitely want, that ongoing communication with you guys, good, bad, the ugly. It's why we're here and to help you keep moving forward. And we're really about progress and not perfection. And I know whenever I'm like working with my business coach, or if I ever feel like I haven't really measured up, I really haven't done what I was, said I was going to do, it'd be real easy to cancel that phone call to something just because I didn't want to deal with it. But the reality is, having that conversation, you can work through, okay, what was it? What got in the way? Why didn't I do what I said I was going to do? And then be able to move forward. So that's what we want for you guys as well, is never to expect that we expect you to be perfect. And the community is great. You guys already did great. You're on our Facebook page, you're here, and we can even build our own healthy community around us. Like when your friends and your family, when they ask what you're doing, if there's any interest there, encourage them to come on board, encourage them, because if we can have, that's our goal, is to, really get America healthy. So if we can have that ripple effect, we can work with you to help get them healthy. So, so that is all great. I'm going to turn it over to Vicki. Vicki is on by phone. Vicki, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we're good. So if you'll just talk about the other pieces of the puzzle, the secret.
Yeah, no, I will. I just want to just expand upon something that Susan said, which I think is so important in terms of people that you surround yourself with. And I think we've all had the experience where you end up with a group of other adults because your kids are in gymnastics together, or because your son's on the football team, or you have a new job, and you start to just create friendships around what you're doing in life. And I think that exponentially from just a health perspective, I think about all the great friends that I've made since I've done this program and I have become a health coach. And it truly, does affect the way that you approach your life when I just step back and think about the people that you surround yourself with, because I think that that can be a big factor that can kind of lead you down a path of health or a path of not so health. So anyway, just thought I would throw that in because I think that is great. So one of the things that I know that we have talked about, am I clear? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, if you're good, Vicki, you're perfect.
Hello?
Yeah, you're
okay,
good.
Okay, good. Okay. So there was a quote in one of Dr. Anderson's books that said, motivation is what gets you started and habit is what keeps you going. And I think that the crux of our program is the habits of health. It is the habits of health, because we all know there are a lot of ways to lose weight, but the weight doesn't stay off unless you create habits that are going to last you a lifetime, or at least the majority of your time of how you practice your life. And I think that that is really key. And what I find is that everybody who comes on program is really excited because they've made a decision. They've made a decision. I'm getting healthy. I'm all in. And then sometimes the path just kind of veers off and life gets in the way. Things get in the way. Even getting on this call, gets in the way of something that somebody's doing because it's all about making a decision. So you made a decision at some point to get healthy, but sometimes that decision doesn't always stick, or that decision sort of falls by the wayside. So I think that once you start being ingrained in the healthy habits that the program has to offer, it keeps that propelling you forward. Which brings me to one other quote that I saw that he had in his book, which was, "A diet is a plan, generally hopeless, for reducing your weight, which tests your willpower, but does little for your waistline." And I think that when we treat this as a diet, it's something you go on and it's something you go off, and it doesn't change the health perspective. And when you go and you look at what is offered in the Habits of Health, you'll see that a lot of it has to do with your mindset. It has to do with exercise. It has to do with sleep. It has to do with inflammation. It has to do with so many things that help you in terms of decisions that you make. And again, kind of piggybacking on something that Susan said is, if you want to learn to play the piano, you're not going to stop after a day. You're going to keep going after, but you still have to want to learn to play if you're going to keep doing it. So you have to find that what you're getting out of something is meaningful enough to keep that ball rolling forward. And I think that, as health coaches, we've discussed that, wow, we just wish some more, our clients were more engaged in those health calls, in our community, in actually looking at the book and reading the book and taking advantage of the workbook to figure out where you are. Because without a little bit of work, the habits don't necessarily change. The feelings are there and the weight might be coming off, but eventually we want to transition. We want to go to maintenance and we want to not look around and have the weight back on. So I think that it's really key. And I, if I could see you all, I would ask for hands up on who's read the book, who's maybe read chapter 1, who's read more than 2 chapters. I think it's a great question to ask yourself. And if you haven't, say, why haven't I picked up the book? And maybe it's the whole idea of picking up the book and thinking this is so big and so I'm never going to get through this. And so I would encourage everybody to take just one chapter and commit to one chapter. Because I think what you'll find is it's relevant to where you are and it will help you. You'll want to read more because you'll want to know what the next steps are. So some of the things that I find to be particularly helpful with clients in the process is people will say to me, well, why am I pairing carbs and proteins? Why would I look for that? Like what's behind that? And again, all of that is in the book. It helps you understand the glycemic index and what happens when you just eat carbs in terms of your blood sugar and your insulin response and the whole metabolic syndrome. So all of that is very educational. And again, I would ask you to raise your hand if I could see all of you. But one of the things that I always ask my clients, if you go to a party and there's a vegetable tray and you've got carrots and you've got broccoli and cauliflower and cucumber, what are you going to pick? What's going to have the least impact on your blood sugar? So if you don't know the answer to that, go check out the Habits of Health. And then the other thing is fruit, glycemic index, blueberries, raspberries, apple, which one's going to be the better choice? This is all information that's in there that you can arm yourself with. So when you are in a situation, you've got the tools. You just pull them out of your toolbox and you know exactly how to make the best choice for yourself. So that's really just addressing the Habits of Health. You can go online. There's actually like a tutorial that will take you through chapter by chapter as far as the book and actually the workbook. And your coach can certainly help you with that as well. There's a whole lot more in there. There's structural tension. You figure out where you are, where you want to go, how you're going to make the choices that are going to take you from point A to point B. Just in the interest of time, I also want to address the other component of our program, which of course are the fuelings. And what's really interesting is Dr. Anderson talks a lot about food that is going to push you forward, that's functional versus dysfunctional. And one of the things he talks about is staying away from processed and refined products. Eventually we want to teach people to shop around the perimeter of the grocery store. Processed, refined foods tend to be energy dense, have high glycemic indexes. They turn on that insulin pump. And the reality is we all live in a quick fix world and we just want to grab and go. And that's where I think the fuelings come in. And I've had a lot of people say, well, it's coming out of a package, isn't it processed? And it's actually not. It's not like your typical processed food, which are high in sugar and sodium, fat, and low in fiber. Each product that you have is actually medically formulated to be low in sugar, low fat, low sodium. It's actually dehydrated food, preservative free. All of them don't contain trans fats. The new line with Optavia has all the added probiotics in there as well. And it's like the best bang for your buck. It's, like 2 eggs and a piece of whole wheat toast. So you're getting very strong fuelings without the calories. So at the end of the day, calories in, calories out are going to help us get to the healthy goal. But more than that, it's really training wheels to fuel every 3 hours. Every 2.5 to 3 hours. I am 4 years now off program. I still fuel 6 times a day. Now, there are times where I thought I had something with me and I didn't. But that's all about making a plan, which also is gone over in the book. But getting those pieces together, you don't want to just do the outline of the puzzle and not fill it in, because eventually you're going to lose pieces. So I always encourage people to, the more you can embrace what can be offered, the more success. The bottom line is the more success. And I think every health coach would say that the most successful clients are the ones that are integrated, the ones that take advantage of everything. And if you've never gone on a health coach call, or you've not posted in our Facebook group, or you've not read chapter 1, I think you might surprise yourself, because that's going to be the push, rather than the people that are calling you out for, beer and wings, or, a rerun of, a movie or something like that. And it doesn't have to be everything. It could just be one step. And again, small steps are the big picture. So I think week by week, you decide, I'm going to read 1 chapter this week, and you make that, write it down, use your journal, write it down, because when things are in writing, we're much more likely to follow them. I think we paralleled, we always talk about like the quick fix and the fast food. I think when people are just fueling and they're not really looking at the rest of the program, it really is like the fast food, not really going to get you very far. So I think, the purpose of this call was to really encourage people to start dabbling in some of the other things that are available, because I think you'll find them worthwhile, and you'll just keep coming back.
That was excellent, Vicki. Thank you. I think you made some really, really valuable points. I liked what you were talking about with your comparison with athletes and like a piano player. And, we can't just do it or just do a little bit. I mean, people that really want to make change and get better, they practice every day, right? They keep doing it even when they don't feel like it. So that's, I think, the hardest part about all this, is that we are all so busy. So it's easy to put aside the books or the education and think, well, I'll deal with that later. But I shared it on our Facebook group. There was a recent story about somebody who was featured, I think, on the Today Show, but they basically said, unless we change our relationship with food, and unless we address our behaviors, our patterns, we're going to be stuck in that same cycle. So anytime, your health coach or we're on this call and we're redirecting you, it's just in your best interest, because we know that that's what it takes to make that long-term behavioral change. And our genuine interest is in your, best interest. We want you to be successful. And we have just a minute left, and I want to have one of my clients, Linda Lockhart, join us and speak. And Linda, I'd like you to just maybe share your story about when you started with the program. And you've really done a great job embracing all the components of the program. And just what has that done for you, and how is it different than how you've tried to approach, losing weight and getting healthy before?
Unmute.
I got you unmuted. You're good.
Okay. Yes, it was, I chose to start the program because I had been doing Weight Watchers off and on, and it did not work. So I thought I could do it myself. And I realize it's a lifestyle change, and this is what I want to do for me. It's for me. And Dee has helped me along. She has guided me and helped me to keep the strength I needed to achieve my goal. And I went on vacation, and while I was on vacation for a week, I lost 3 pounds because I was put with sugar, wine, things I wanted to do. And Dee's voice would come back to me. It's your choice. It's your choice. You can have it if you want. It doesn't mean I can't have it and go back on program. I can, but it's my choice on what I want to do. And I realized that Dee she is my crutches. She is not my hammock. So I have to use my crutches that I have. So and I am going to reach my goal and keep it, because I am not waiting to get off of this so I can eat again.
That's good. That's good. Well, thank you, Linda. I mean, I really think that you demonstrated what we really want to do as your health coaches is just empower you to make your own decisions. We never want this to be a matter of what you can eat or what you can't eat and telling you no and things like that. It's just everything in life is choices, and then we got to be okay with our outcomes, right? With that. So and then same thing with the education. I think I was going to go back to that for a second. Vicki really did a great job of saying, you know, reading the book. I mean, your coach could try to teach this all to you, but that's not really our role. Our role is to guide you to the tools so that you can go through that learning process, and then that's how you'll move forward. So, so thank you guys for tuning in. No matter where you are, like if you haven't picked up your books yet, no problem, right? Like every day is a new day to start something new. So just start that process. We've tried to simplify some of it for you. We know that picking up a textbook can be challenging. So every week now, your coach is sending you early in the week our habit of health of the week. Some of that is behavioral related. Some of it is like a topic on water, like this week is. And then the weekly habit of health webinar that the company provides on Wednesday night parallels that, so you can tune in. So there are ways to get the same information without having to actually pick up the textbook and just read it cover to cover. The other way you can get the information is we have an online tool called the Health Games, and we'll be posting information about this in our Facebook group. But these are online challenges. We just kind of gamify the process, and what happens is you get the same information like on a daily basis. You just have to check in, do your readings, you get points for doing that, and then you know, it's just another way to process the info. So just if you want to mark your calendar, our next call will be on the first Thursday of May, which is May 4th, 8 o'clock, and the next topic is going to be on transition. So a lot of you guys have always asked the question, okay, what's this going to look like after the 5 and 1? So we're going to start to address that, to paint that picture for you. I also want to invite you, we have our annual convention every year in July. This year it's in Dallas, and this convention is open to, this conference is open to clients and coaches. And in fact, they're really encouraging us. We're rolling to Optavia for our clients to participate. And they even have some contests going where if you do a 3-minute video and share your story and your transformation, you could actually win free registration and transportation for that. So I'll repost that in our group, but we would love to have you be a piece of that and really see the bigger picture of what it is that you have in your hands with Optavia. And we do always invite you guys to consider health coaching. Anytime your coach or I mention the word health coaching, it's 100% in your best interest because of the reasons that Susan said. We have studies that show that health coaches are 5 times more likely to reach and maintain their goal weight. And there's just a reason for that. You know, we immerse ourselves, and the best quote that I've heard is that it's really hard to move backwards or to fall backwards when you're helping somebody else move forward. So that's why we invite that. So if you have any interest at all in doing that, we are going to roll right now into our health coach training, and we're going to talk about how we help our clients integrate and embrace these components of the program. If you have had enough for tonight, just go ahead and sign off, and we appreciate you being here. And everybody have a great night. All right, we're going to go ahead and get rolling because I want to keep us on task. So thank you, Vicki and Susan. Bang up job presenting that information. Thank you for that. And you know, in our past couple months with health coaching, we've been taught with our trainings, we have been talking about. Oops, Debbie, can you Debbie Pallone, you are screen sharing. Up at the top, it should say stop screen sharing. Debbie, can you hear me? There you go. So thank you. So the past couple of calls that we had, what we talked about was the very first call. So tonight we're going to talk about how do we help with our client success, right? Because we all want our clients to be successful. We want them to reach their goals. We want to help them embrace all the components of the program. But we know our clients are busy. We know that what we do is different than what most of us are used to. I know it was completely different when I found this program. So just to back it up a bit, what we talked about like it was 2 calls ago, is we talked about when we're sharing, when somebody expresses interest in our program and we start to talk about the program, we talked about the importance of really a quality share with them. And we define that is really helping our potential clients identify their why. Like, why is it that they want to make this journey? Like, why now? What have they tried in the past? And then why? It's not about losing weight, right? That's just a number on the scale. Why is it going to be important? So once we have that conversation with them and we can start to secure that, really encourage you guys to use the well-being evaluation with your clients. Even if you haven't used one with your clients, go ahead and send it now. But really what we want to do is open up the door in the conversation to the full offering, the full, we know all of health has to do with a healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. So we really want to be talking big picture with our clients and our potential clients from the beginning. Because if we posture the relationship and we start only focusing on the weight loss and, hey, we've got this great plan, and coaching them specifically just on the weight loss component, it just becomes a diet, right? We're diet coaches, and we know that diets don't work for the long term. So it's really our responsibility to help pull in these other pieces. So once we have somebody that's, we've gone through that, we've identified, why this is important to them, what it is they're really striving for, we're going to move from that into getting them going on the program, right? And from the beginning, we really want to posture our relationship with them, posturing just like Susan talked about, like what our responsibility is and how we're going to be guiding them through the components. We want to be talking from the beginning and inviting to all the tools that we have. So inviting to the Facebook group, inviting them to post, encourage. I would love to see a lot more interaction on our Facebook group with our clients, that we could get to a point that we would feel transparent, right? So if we were having a bad day, or, a client, they're having a struggle, that they could kind of raise their hand and feel comfortable posting on that board, so that, we know that others would rally around and encourage. And so we use our community to help support our clients, and it doesn't just fall to us as our coaches. So keep that in mind when you're talking to your clients. If they're having an issue or a struggle, encourage them to go out on our Facebook page and the Eat, Live, and Be Healthy, and put it out there, and let's support when we see those posts. Let's support that. And actually, while I'm on the topic of that, I also wanted to express that if you have people, we all have those people that we talk to that maybe they're just not quite ready for the program yet, right? So they've heard about it or whatever, you've had the conversation with them, but for whatever reason, they're not quite ready to move forward. If you really feel like they are a good candidate, that, if they could really see what we offer, that they, would want to be a part of this, feel free to invite them into our Facebook group. I mean, there's no harm for them to be a part of that and to see all the layers of support that we provide, and let them get a better picture of who we are. So feel free to do that. They're also invited to be on our, client calls, and that, even if they haven't, officially become a client yet. So we, like I said, want to always get our clients off to a good start. I always like to posture my relationship with clients when I'm getting started with them. I like to posture it from the beginning, like, number one, that our phone calls are not going to be very long. So when, when I tell them, okay, I'm going to be calling you on days 1 through 3 or 1 through 4 on the program, I always make sure to say, it's just going to be 2 or 3 minutes. I know you're going to have questions. I just want to be able to help you get to a successful start. I want you to, be there for you so that, that I can answer any questions you have. When we get to the point that we're transitioning and I'm going to be then saying, hey, let's set up our weekly call, I'm real clear, and I encourage you to do the same, to let people know that, hey, this is just going to be a short call every week, 10 minutes, maybe 15. We're going to talk about a habit of the health for the week. We'll talk about, what's going really well. We'll talk about, if you have any struggles. But I really like to posture it because and we want to keep our client calls short. Not that we are not interested and want to, talk to them, but I think if we're honest, if it starts going on and on and on, we've gotten off task somewhere. Something's gotten off task. So, but we want to keep it short because our clients are busy. You're busy as a health coach. Many of you guys have other jobs and things that you're doing as well. And our clients are busy. And we never want to have that situation where you dial your client and they look at the phone and see it's you and think, well, I don't have time for that. So the number one thing we want to do is let them know that we respect their time, and we'll be very efficient with them. What I like to do is during weeks, something to think about. So we've got the book and the workbook, and it's important for our clients to make that a part of their journey, right? We know that, especially from the behavioral side of this and the habits and the triggers and behaviors. But what I like to do is I start during week 1 or week 2, I kind of just gauge it based on how the client's doing. But I'll have them go right to chapter 3. And I'll say, you know what, if you have time this week, I know it seems out of order, but read chapter 3. And I have them read chapter 3 first. And chapter 3 is on motivation. And that is all about the orientation that we take, about helping them, helping us see that what we're doing is that we're in creation mode. We're creating health versus problem solving, which is just losing weight or fixing the problem on the scale or the blood pressure number or the blood sugar number. So we really want to change that orientation. So I start with chapter 3. And then the next week, once I've had that conversation, I write it on their chart, right? On the back of the well-being tracker, I write it on the back, discussed reading chapter 1. So then the next week, and I take any kind of notes from the conversation, then the next week, I'll say, okay, how did you do? What'd you think about chapter 3? So I just want to get their 1 or 2 takeaways. If they didn't read it, I brought it up again. So I'm like, okay, so what got in the way? When do you think you can read it by? I also, like down the road, if your clients are struggling in any way, when they start to lose focus, and we know it just happens, I very often go back to chapter 3. So I'll do a little coaching around it, but a lot of times it's just got to be self-awareness. They've got to come back to what it is that's important. So I'll very often, let's say I'm doing a call on a Wednesday, I'll say, you know what, I think the best thing would be to go back and read chapter 3 again, and then let's talk about it. And we can either, wait till next Wednesday, or it might be better if we just maybe scheduled another quick call maybe on Friday. So I kind of give an assignment. And if our clients are vested and if they're interested, I kind of call it playing basketball. I've tossed the ball out. Let's see if they throw it back. That's how you know that they're really vested and they want to move forward. After chapter 3, I know it seems weird, but it's just what I've learned over the years. I'm just trying to help you to earlier in the process not to make mistakes like I did. So I like to do chapter 3, and then I like to do chapter 6 right after that. Chapter 6 in Dr. A's Habits of Health explains blood sugar. And that's a pretty deep concept. And so often, we're used to, before we came to this, we're used to just cutting calories, and we're used to just dieting in that way. So our program doesn't make a lot of sense. So sometimes I think reading chapter 6 and really understanding blood sugar and what happens in the science of our program can help make conversations easier when there's potential deviations from the program or things like that. We can explain why it's different and why, yes, it was only 150 calories, that glass of wine, but what it did to the blood sugar and how it might have kicked them out of fat burning. So any questions around that before we go on to some other stuff? And Julie, I wanted to get your input as well because of your experience as a trainer and coaching.
I have a question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Debbie.
I have a couple people who struggle with emotional eating, and it doesn't change the fact that, like, I know part of it is about your chemistry and what your body is craving because it's running on glycogen and yada yada. But there's the emotional part of things also, where somebody just goes to bad habits or old habits, based on a familiar feeling, and I'm not entirely sure how to address that.
What do you typically do? How do you typically try to coach through that?
Well, like if I were to talk to somebody and they were saying, yeah, I'm craving sugar, well, most recently I just got on the phone with nutrition support with somebody because I was like, I can tell you that from, even before I did this program, I did, paleo, and I worked out, and I've done nutrition and caring about how I eat for a very long time, that I found that just plugging away, even though it's hard, plugging away, eventually it loses the magic. So my analogy is that a long time ago, like long before I heard of this organization that I've fallen in love with, I had been on paleo, and I had done like no hardly any carbs. It's just a little bit. It's similar, but it's not the same. And that when Thanksgiving came around, I was so excited because I was like, you know what? It's Thanksgiving, and I'm going to have a cookie. And I bit into this cookie, and I got zero. No rush, no happy, no yum, no nothing. It didn't even taste that good. I was just like, that's the weird, like, it was so weird for me that I didn't have that, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And so that's the story that I pass on, because I can assure people that at some point when your body is no longer stuck on sugar, that you stop needing it or stop wanting it. It just doesn't do for you what it used to do. Kind of like giving up cigarettes, how like after a while they just don't. So that's, but I just want to know what you guys, how I'm sure you've all dealt with people who have had that struggle, and I want to get some input.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably one of the most common things. I would love to get Julie's input on it. I think there's the default patterns that we have as humans, right? And so we've had this default of, oh my gosh, I'm stressed, or oh my gosh, I'm emotional, or whatever it is, and we've always defaulted to food. So the question then becomes, how do we start to create some new habits, right? So Julie, how do you, because I know this is something we all work with our clients with. So what is your coaching around that?
For the emotional eating part, or which part would you say?
Let's go with the emotional eating, since that's the question on the table.
So I think it's funny because I have these conversations with clients all the time, because I love sugar. And so people ask me all the time, they're like, well, how do you control that? And I know that I have to make decisions about what I have in my house and what I buy and what I do. And so I've created, like, I know where my barriers are, and I know what where my temptations are. So it's kind of like you have to learn how to control those situations. And so as new clients, they don't know that. They don't have a clue, because all they're used to doing is what they've known, and that's just eating whatever they want and being stressed and eating. So the goal of the whole program, and I think part of those healthy habits that we mentioned just in the call before this, is it's learning how to set up those boundaries, how to set up that behavior and prevent yourself from falling into those same traps. So I can't buy those things, and I can't have it in the house. So I learned very long time ago, don't buy it, because you can't have it in the house. Now it's harder when you have a family because you have those things, but I always challenge my clients, well, why are you feeding it to your kids? Or why is your husband having it? So there really should be, you start to learn to live by example and be the difference. And so I think it's kind of empowering it's our goal to try to empower our clients to make different decisions and give them like the backbone and the support they need until they do it on their own, because right now they don't know any different. So what can we help them learn and be their support, but also empower them to make different choices? And that just comes with building a new habit, because all they know right now is emotional eating, right? They don't know a different. They don't know what it feels like to have good, healthy, a healthy treat versus a piece of candy. They don't know the difference, and they don't know what it feels like to feel good even. So let's help them get there first, and then we can help them change the habits that they've known, their history. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah.
I have one more part to add to that, and I'll be quiet. Somebody I was talking to today had done Weight Watchers before this, and so she keeps wanting to kind of slide back in that mindset. And she's like, but things like grapes and strawberries and apples and all those things had 0 points before. So when I was wanting sugar, I would have my berries or my fruit or whatever. And now you're telling me I can't. And I was like, right, because we're talking about like blood sugars now. And so that is something hard, because then you're dealing with somebody who says, but I knew this other stuff and now I have to know this new stuff. But that's another struggle for me, just how to address that.
I'll be happy to answer that.
Thank you.
Dee, you can pipe in too. I always tell people, I'm like, every single program that clients have done, the science behind each one is very different. So I always explain it to clients. I'm like, the way the program is designed, Dr. Anderson and all the doctors have created it based on science. And the way that we help people get to fat burn is limiting those carbs. And fruit by nature, even if it's a banana, which everybody thinks is healthy, if you look at a banana, it has 25 grams of carbs. But if we're trying to keep clients in a fat burn state, they're only supposed to get 80 to 100 grams of carbs. Immediately, that banana is going to throw them out of fat burn. So when you're talking to somebody, if you can get it down to basics for them, and most of us, like, that's second nature to me, just because I know a lot from prior stuff and from being a trainer, but that may not be second nature for you to explain it that way. But the more you can bring it to basic level for clients and explain the science of the program is fat burn. So while of course I know you think of banana and grapes, they're all healthy, but we have to be limiting those on this plan. And good news is you get to add it back second week of transition. So it's coming back, and that's your reward. And I tell clients, I'm like, it's coming. Once you get to your goal, we're going to add it back the second week of transition. So it's not a bad thing. It's just right now we can't have it if you want to stay in fat burn.
Yeah, that is good. And I understand, and I think that can make it challenging, Debbie, what you were just saying, because she still had the same pattern, right? So if I want something sweet, right? So she's on our plan, but then yet she's wanting something sweet, right? Maybe to fill some other need. So it kind of creates that habit situation again. And it can be, we never want to get all muddled. That's the thing, is like, fruit is good. Fruit is a good, healthy, it's part of our normal ongoing diet once we're beyond weight loss. So I think it gets muddled. And one time I actually had somebody, and she ate like a cookie or something, and she said, well, what I really wanted was some grapes, but I knew I couldn't have that. And I was like, if it was a choice between grapes and a cookie, like, the grapes were the better option. But it can get all muddled. But I think at the end of the day, I think, if somebody does deviate or whatever, like, oh my God, I went off plan, I was just so stressed, I'm like, number one is just let them know it's okay. And, what do you want to do next? Okay, what's something you could do next time? Because odds are you're going to be emotional or stressed again, right? Like, this is life. So do you want to continue? Like, my questions would be like, do you want to continue to default? Like, do you want to continue to have, like, the food have the power over you? Or would you want to start trying to find some ways that we could work through this and create some new habits? Referring them to the workbook lesson on Stop, Challenge, and Choose it would be my next step in that situation. Just because, it's getting ourselves to be mindful and evaluate a situation. Okay, why am I feeling this? What am I feeling? If I eat this, is this going to make it better? What's it going to do? So it's going to be that constant struggle for just as humans, for us, when, that desire of what's in front of us at the moment versus what we really want. So we just have to keep helping them work through that. Like Julie said, Julie realized over time, okay, you know what? I can't have it in the house. Like, that was the new rule she had to create for herself. Nobody told her that. Julie came up with that. And that's the fine line we have as coaches. I see Marcy on the phone, and I want to keep it rolling, but Marcy had a situation where she just had a stressful situation at home. Like, sometimes things would just escalate at home, and she would feel stressed, and her default was to want to eat. So we talked that through in one of our meetings, and what we came up with was that when she had that feeling, when she was just ready to erupt, that she would just go outside and she would just go for a walk. And And it even got comical at a point. It was like, well, what if it's raining? Like, what if it's cold? And we're like, just go outside, just go stand on the porch, like just remove yourself from the situation. And it's been helpful, right, Marcy? Can you nod your head? Yeah. So is it perfect? No, she's probably had a few moments, but she's probably has more moments of not defaulting that behavior. So does that help, Debbie? All right, good. So, Julie, can you elaborate just a little bit more? Because I know you talked about in our earlier conversation today about how you coached at the beginning and how your coaching looks a little bit different now 2 years later.
Yeah, I think, are you referring to just the,
Like really coaching the diet, like just helping them along with the eating plan? Because for you as a trainer, you brought this as an alternative eating plan for people.
yeah, so when I started doing the program with my clients, that was probably a little over 2 years ago. And everything that I brought to the table and brought to clients was all focused on the nutrition piece, because that's what I was doing with clients. And I was already doing that with them. I just offered another alternative and a much better alternative for them. So my mind was very focused on that piece. And what I've continued to see is that only carries people for a short time. Just like Debbie was alluding to, just like we've all kind of noticed, you can only go so long before that willpower gives up and you need a Y power. There, you can only go so long before you stick to like the magic of the program, and then you get into a tempting situation and everything goes awry. So the more I've coached, the more I've thought, and I've realized like there has to be a bigger picture for clients. And that's why I think we wanted to focus our client portion of the call on what's that bigger picture for people. So it's learning, it's the habits of health, it's you're having your accountability with your coach. It's all four of those pieces that have to work together. So while we know they're all great alone, it's just like a team. It's so much better together. So if we are only coaching the fuelings, the rest of the part, which is what I was doing, that the rest of it all kind of crumbles and nobody has a big foundation for their program, for the bigger picture. So now when I'm talking to clients, it's a whole different perspective. It's more of like, hey, this is the tool, fuelings are the tool, but what else is there? We have to learn a new habit. We have to learn a different lifestyle. And here's how you can be successful. It's connecting into the Facebook group. It's connecting to the calls. It's staying connected with us as coaches. It's not just following the fuelings. That's going to be your short-term solution, but what's your long-term solution? So now I have those conversations right out of the gate. So I've learned that 2 years later. So hopefully you guys can be thinking about it. If you're a new coach, okay, what can I do to get clients integrated faster and not learn it the hard way? Kind of like I've had to stumble through it.
Yeah, and that's good. And I think the one thing I want to point out, if you are a newer coach or just, tuning in to check this out, if you notice, like I keep referring back to all the tools that we have, right? So we've got Dr. Anderson's book and the workbook. Like next week, I know next week's Habit of Health call is on emotional eating, right? So perfect tool. Guess what? You know what? Really important. I think it would be really, always posture why it would be helpful to somebody to be on the call. Not you need to be on this call or you should be on this call, because that doesn't inspire anybody. But when we really can posture it and show them why, like, you know what? Remember our conversation? Guess what? I'm so excited. So the company does the heavy lifting for us. As the coach, we're not, we're not counselors in terms of deep therapy. I mean, that's not our role. Our role is to bring them. Have I ever referred somebody to counseling? Yeah. Like if it's just a deep issue they can't seem to work through, I've referred people. I said, you know what, maybe you might want to talk to somebody about that. But I know that that is outside of what I can do personally or the book or the workbook might do. It's very rare that that happens, but sometimes. So I just want you to be aware of that. Like, I don't want you to think like, oh my gosh, like I got to work people through emotional eating. We point them to the tools. Over time, what will happen? So if you hear Julie and I speak, or Susan Giesland or Vicki, like experienced coaches, Debbie a couple years in, over time you start to see patterns in human behavior. So it is easier for us to respond because we kind of know the answer because we've been down that route before. But your coach, we do team coaching. We show you where to find this information to support your clients. Jonathan, I wanted to ask you to share, because you came in at a point, I mean, I know that Debbie did a fantastic job helping you become an integrated client. You made the decision to become a health coach, for your own to help you stay focused on your goals and to help other people. But tell me how you have, being a newer health coach, how do you, incorporate this into your clients? How do you keep it interesting? Have you come up, what do you do to keep your clients engaged?
I think probably one of the first things that I do is I rely on other people in my organization with team coaching. Within 1 to 2 weeks, we have a team coaching call with one of the coaches in the organization. And I find that really helpful because people that I might have known for years will tell someone like you or someone like Debbie something that they don't tell me. And so it's a great conversation starter. And being a newer coach, sometimes I don't always know all the questions to ask. And so that's been really beneficial for us for team coaching. And then just some of the tools that are available, the weekly emails that are coming out focusing on the habits of health, that's been really good for us. And then, just different things to engage the clients. Lisa and I completed our first 5K 2 weeks ago, and we decided to shoot a video at the finish line. So we shot a under 30-second video, and we sent it out to all of our clients, and it was basically, here's something we did on our journey, and our coach asked us early on, what do you want to do? And that was it. Short, sweet, tell us what you want to do. And the conversations that we had in the 2 weeks following have been pretty interesting. So those are just kind of some of the things we do.
So when on your video, you sent it out like doing a 5K or whatever, this was something we wanted to do once we got healthy. So you were kind of saying it's kind of that vision casting, right? When we talk about why. Okay, that's awesome. So, and that video, I like that idea. I mean, not everybody has to do a video, that might petrify you, but I mean, it's just a thought, because that video is something good. It's a good way for you to get a visual, a picture of you in front of your clients. It just increases that connection. And even if you haven't had a chance yet to maybe verbally speak in the past week or so, they see you. So that's awesome. And I love that what you said, because it gave you the opportunity in your weekly call, rather than just asking, okay, how much weight did you lose? And, very mechanical, you kind of took that conversation deeper, right? By asking them however that probably went. So that's really good. And I love I love that you mentioned two things, and we'll wrap it up after this. Team coaching. Okay. So what team coaching means you have a team of coaches to work with you. So as a health coach, you have your health coach above you, and then you've even got the health coach above them. So what Jonathan was referring to is that Debbie Pasco is his health coach, and then I am Debbie's health coach. So the three of us. So he will bring a client and this is open to everybody to do, bring your client, week 1, week 2, when they're in a happy place, bring them to a team call and just say, you know what, I would love for you to meet my health coach. We just love to celebrate that you've made this decision. You're doing great. Then just like Jonathan said, I love what you said. You were able to learn from your coach, who asked some questions that you maybe had not thought to ask before. So it was a learning tool for you. And those calls, team coaching can be done with, we call them celebration calls when your clients are doing well. Struggling calls. I've done them with a lot of health coaches. If somebody's struggling, your client is struggling, bring them, let somebody else ask them some questions. See if we can reawaken that desire, that initial reason why they started, and maybe help them start to take those steps forward again. And again, going back to those habit of health emails, I think that brings a great opportunity to say in your weekly call, like, hey, this week was on water. Did you get the email about water? How are you doing with your water intake these days? They might say, oh, I drink a lot. Well, great. About how many ounces a day? So it just gives you a chance to just tap in and see, really, how well are they doing with all the fundamentals and the habits of health. And same thing with next week's on the emotional eating and all of that. So other questions? I know we have a lot of coaches on the line, so thanks for being on. This is for you. So anything you want to bring to the table that we can answer?
I have a quick question for Jonathan, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan, when you did the video, did you email that or did you text that to your clients?
So I actually had to compress it. 28 seconds of video turned into 56 megs. So I found some free software and I compressed it and then I emailed it. So, and we decided we're going to do a video a month. So we emailed that out to the clients, and it basically, it was very short and sweet. It says, hey, a happy video from Jonathan and Lisa. Hey, here's a video we shot the other week. Love to hear your thoughts. That's it. And we emailed it out. And we got some great email responses from it, but then we also got some very enjoyable conversations that followed.
That's great. Great idea.
What was
And-
cool
and-
was they shared it with me and let me see it, and it was very authentic. And they did it right after the 5K, and it was a color run, so it was one of those ones where they shoot the dye out at you. So there's Jonathan and Lisa with their painted faces and whatever. So they just kind of kept it real and kept it fun, and I think that's very powerful.
Well, and Dee, you mentioned, I think you said fear. I was petrified in that video, but it kind of helped that a few days before you had put a video out and mentioned punching fear in the face. So that was helpful.
And how'd you feel after you did that and you saw the response and the impact that it had?
I was scared up until I hit send. And then once I hit send, there was nothing I could do. But afterwards, I felt really good. And the feedback will keep us doing them again.
That's great. That's great. So a really good example is that we just never want to let our fears get in our way because we could be making a difference in somebody else's journey. So very cool. Very cool. Well, that is it. Any other questions, comments? Well, very good. Look, I want to congratulate, where did she go? Ludi jumped 2 levels last month. Ludi went from coach to senior coach to manager in 1 month. So are you having fun helping your new clients, Ludi?
I am. I'm enjoying the whole process. It's very interesting and very rewarding in helping many of the clients. So at times a little frustrating, but I enjoy listening to the podcast and listening to what everyone has to say. A lot of good information, a lot of good advice, and I've taken away more than 5 things tonight that I'm going to really try with different clients.
Good.
And trying to motivate, get the motivation back.
That's great.
Yes.
Well, you know what? That's a really good point. The one thing I probably should have started out was the best way to help our clients integrate is to be integrated ourselves. And so you see the value when you participate in the call, you've been listening to the webinars, you're learning things that you can then take back to help you.
Exactly.
And that's the thing is like any of us with our careers and other things we've done in our life, like we've had training, right? We've had training. It took years of experience to get good at it. So tuning in and taking advantage of this kind of training,
Right.
good. You have 5 things you're walking away with. That's impressive. So that's good. In this past month, we had 2 new coaches join our team. You guys met her the other night on the call. Sherry Heave joined our team. And just yesterday, Jen, you want to give us a wave? Jen just joined us as a health coach under Julie Apple. So we are really excited. She's just a couple weeks into program and just decided that she needed to go ahead and start paying it forward. So that's what we want for everybody. Welcome you guys. 2 things on the calendar just to start planning for. Saturday, April 29th, Dan Bell, our presidential director, we're really fortunate. He's going to be right here in Atlanta for us at the Renaissance Hotel that's down by the new baseball stadium from 9, it's going to go like 9 to 2:30 basically is the time frame for, you can stay 9 to 12 or stay 9 to 2:30 with lunch in there. So if you're in the area, I know Ludi's going to come up from Florida. We would love for anybody to come visit for that. He's going to offer a lot. It's a great opportunity to invite guests. He'll be doing a business presentation, program presentation, and also health coach training. So that is a great opportunity if you're available. And then mark your calendar, you guys, convention. This is our first full rollout to Optavia. July 20th to the 23rd in Dallas. Raise your hand if you're going already that we know we're going. Yay, look at us. So we have a lot of fun, you guys. I mean, it is Take Shape for Life University. If you want to learn how to be a good health coach and do something with this, highly encourage you to join us. We work hard and we play hard. So I've never had anybody say they regretted going to convention. If anything, it was always they regretted that they missed it. So let's talk about it. Let's find a way to make it happen for you. And I think that's it. So I hope you guys like the call tonight. I hope it helps you move forward and your clients. And we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.